And there we go. Good afternoon, everybody. Oh man, I got to do the hair. Didn't do the hair. All right, let's get the comments up. Let's get this right out of the way. Get that going. All right, so here is the story though. One, HIA, the Hauppauge Industrial Association. I think that's what we're going to make the topic of for today. There is the trade show, which is coming up May 26th. So we got another 4 months, a little less than 4 months to go on that one. Do have a few decisions that need to be made in advance of that. So that's what I wanted to include you in on. So here's the story with that one. One, and let's go get the information up first. There it is. Add to stream. There we go. HIA Trade Show, May 26, 2022. Let's go back over here. All right. So as you can see, a lot of stuff is exactly the same. Well, at least it's exactly the same as it was a few years ago. So it's going to be back at the campus. So it's at the Suffolk Community Campus, Brentwood. It is going to be from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. So that'll be the same. If you're looking to take a booth, you want to get in touch with Anthony Forgione, make that work. There's sponsorship availability, all the rest of that. Not exactly what I wanted to speak with you about here today. So right now we're in the process, and I mean we, not the HIA, trying to take a look at different ways that we could help to get our message out, help the businesses, business community, school community, all work together in a very positive manner. Definitely a positive manner. So last year, when the show was at the Huntington Hilton, the folks from Long Island Needs a Drag Strip came down and they brought a few cars with them. Number of the participants were there. Also, we had a number of schools participating with us, and also a number of organizations were there too, along with plenty of businesses. Let me tell you, it was great. It was absolutely great. We were outside by the food trucks. We had a few race cars, a couple of cars that are used at the drag strip. We had the school, Oceanside High School, brought a boat they built. They brought a car they were working on. And really, the whole point of that one was to talk about the vocational training that's taking place inside of the high schools and how unbelievably important it is. Now, there's so many things going on with regards to college expenses, how expensive it is. There's so many things going on within the business community, manufacturing, trades, real trades, hands-on trades of people looking for additional workers to come through. Heck, I can even tell you the garage that I use. He's like, he's looking for somebody else that wants to work in the automotive industry, and it's a nice career, and it's a changing career right now too. Because, well, those combustion engines, you give it another, I'll say, give it another generation or so, and that is going to become a bit more of a I'm not going to use the word relic. That's not really it. But we're certainly converting over more and more to these electric or hybrid vehicles and stuff like that. So it's really fascinating, I think, what's going on within the automotive or transportation industry, the trucking industry, all the rest of the stuff. And just the community, the industry that has to do with technology, the computer industry, robots, all the rest of that stuff. It's absolutely fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. But where, if you're a high school student or college student, want to get into the career, like where you getting your training from? Where are you actually finding out whether or not this is something that you want to pursue or not? I'll put on the parent face on this one, but when your daughter or son goes to college and they get their 4-year degree and then they graduate and they don't want to do what they've been learning how to do, that's a lot of money. That's an expensive college experience, without a doubt. But my feeling is that if your son or daughter had the ability to be exposed to these industries, to be exposed to what is going to be the future when it comes to manufacturing changes and automation, when it comes to the automobile industry and automation, when it comes to the trucking industry and automation. Wait, I got another 20 minutes. I can keep going over here. When it comes to delivery and automation, when it comes to project management and automation, when it comes to communicating with your employees, and automation. Oh, I just saw somebody complain about this one. They're getting a new phone system at work. Okay, that's nice. All right. Except the phone has got a built-in video. Built in. I think it was Zoom that was used there. And I know Zoom is actually in the phone business, but it's built-in cameras in your phone, not just the computer, but on the phone. You think video conferencing is here? Yeah, always has been. And now it's unbelievably socially acceptable to the whole thing. And that'll remain that way forever. It'll only increase more and more and more. But all these industries are changing. Everything from regular retail stores, right? How many articles have you read already about talking about how cashiers are going to go by the wayside? How things will be automated that way. We've seen that in a couple of places where that happens. Very possible. Even speeding up, right? Isn't that what all fast food is about? It's about speeding up the process, right? I mean, I really wonder if we go back. Well, you got to go back pretty far. What was it? It was White Castle. Go back to the 50s, right? White Castle, you didn't have to go into the store to order. They came out to you on roller skates. They came out to you, and then you gave them the order, and they went in, and then they got your food and they brought it out to you. I think that was a little bit more of the experience rather than just a fast food side of it. I remember one. I was living in Queens at the time that was the case. I just loved it. Still love those belly bombers. All right, another topic. We'll save that eating White Castle for another day. But that whole thing. Wow, wow, what a change that would be, and that really was. And how many people said, "Oh my gosh, how could you do that? How could you take food and take an order from people outside and then go in and get it?" People are going to order the food and then they're going to drive away. I don't know if that's the case, but how many people are against that change? Then all of a sudden, nobody wants to sit in the parking lot anymore. I guess there was too many people in the parking lot. Then it was the drive-throughs. Oh, drive-throughs. Wow. But maybe you're going to lose out on those impulse items when some people are standing on line, the rest of that stuff. And I wonder how many people were against that, and how many employees were going to be lost because of that. I don't know if they have or not, but it automated. It moved forward. Fast food now. What do? You can even send in your order, and you go there, you pick it up, and it's done. It's paid for, and everything like that. Crazy. Or is it just change? Is it just change? And it happens quickly. So go back to it. Do you know, or do you think that our junior high schoolers, teenagers, high schoolers, college students know what is really possible that's out there? I don't know. I know when I went to school, I didn't know what was possible. I followed footsteps. That's what I did. But even if they did know, I mean, think about the changes that are taking place, right? You go to school for 4 years. Let's use social media as an example over here. If you went to college, you went to one of our colleges, Suffolk Community College, Stony Brook, I don't care, wherever, pick a college, doesn't make a difference. But if you go to college to get a 4-year degree, maybe even a 2-year degree, but you go to school to get a 4-year degree in social media, let me tell you something. You're probably outdated by the time you graduate. It's a matter of doing and learning. And that's really where I think these vocational programs are so unbelievably important. So unbelievably important. And the skills that transfer from one project over to another project, it's just absolutely immense. I've used the automobile as the example, and I'll continue to use that one. I could see that. I could definitely see how that would kind of translate out. And I've spoken with a few people. And this is where I think the HA trade show is going to filter into the whole thing. And this is what I'm thinking. All right. But take a look. If you get high school students that are going in, well, let's go to Oceanside. Let's use that as the example and forget the car. Let's go to the boat. Those students that built that boat as part of their vocational program, what do you think they learned doing that? They learned about woodworking. They learned about mechanics. They learned about the engine. They learned about the drag, how that boat went through water, how to make sure that it's stable enough. And they built that boat. I believe they built that boat from scratch. Not sure if they followed blueprints or not, but if they did, they now learned how to read blueprints. If they didn't, They learned how to write blueprints. Do you think they did all of that by hand? I don't know. That's a question to go ask the instructors that were part of the whole thing. If they didn't and they did it computer generated, well, now all of a sudden you've got a lot of technology that's being thrown into it where they learn how to use these various programs in order to map out something, that create blueprints, the schematics of it, figure out what the drag is on the water, how it's going to deal with the different water and water situations as it goes through. And this was a quick boat. I don't recall the exact top speed on it, but this is a quick boat that they built, little one-seater boat, skim across the top. It's got to be stable, strong enough, have the right amount of horsepower, not too little, not too much either. It's got to be the right amount. Look at all those things that they've learned along the way. They talk about people skills. They're happy to talk about people skills. What about the people skills that they've learned along the way too? It's quite a bit, is it not? How to work as a team. That's assuming that everybody that was part of that team was enthusiastically part of that team. Spoke to a gentleman, different grade, different age group, different school, different everything. So this is not a reflection on any one particular school, but I told him, I said, about this whole thing that was going on. He's like, yeah, there's a lot of folks that take these shop classes because it's an easy credit. Okay, let's just make the assumption that is the case. So now you're in that shop class. You're building that boat. You're building that boat as a team. The project is the boat. There's different levels of enthusiasm that you have as part of that team. Think about that, how that translates out. So now all of a sudden, that vocational program, the trade program, the building a boat program, that is now teaching you some stuff that is unbelievably applicable in so many different ways, in so many different places. And that, of course, is people skills. How do you manage people? Good question. How do you manage people? How do you manage people if you could dangle a paycheck in front of them? Is different than how do you manage people if you're leading a nonprofit. It's also different when it comes to leading a group of people that are all very much focused on the outcome of that project. And then again, it's different when you're leading a group of people that are there for different reasons. So I'm sure that within that school setting, to build this boat or to work on a car or to do anything like that, there are certain students that are going to rise to the occasion. They may not rise to the occasion of having unbelievable woodworking skills. They may struggle in a big way with that blueprint. I know I certainly would. That would not be my thing. But they also might be the people that rise to the occasion when it comes to figuring out who within that group should be working with whom in that group. Whose skill set is better doing one thing and maybe doing a little bit less with another. What two people would work well together when it comes up with coming up with different ideas, when there's some little challenge that happens. Or if you just want to give them the idea of building a boat with no rules. You might have that engineering mindset person that's there that's like, hey, I know how to do it. This is the way it's been done. Structure the whole thing out. This thing's going to be solid as a rock. Then you might have that other person who's a little, let's say, less cautious. That person is like, oh, no, wait a second. If we make it really, really light and we put the weight in the back, but enough in the front, this way it keeps it level after it gets up. And it doesn't really go too well when it's at that 10 to 15 knot speed. But when it gets to 25, 30, man, it just sails right along. Those are two totally different mindsets. And when it comes to building something, if you're really good as a manager, you'll see that. Translated out into the business world, it's exactly the same. How many groups of people do you work with where everybody's on the same page? Oh, not many. Not many. Because you get people that are there for a paycheck. You got people that are like some portion of the business. You got other people that really just don't even like being there. Those are the people you really got to figure out how to get them on board with it, how to give them that little project in there, that little special portion of it that really gets them excited to keep them going. Right? Sometimes you might be helping to motivate others in a way that they don't even realize it. Well, you might even learn motivational skills of the whole thing. Is it important? Without a doubt. There are so many changes on the horizon. So many changes on the horizon. And I truly believe that if our students are not prepared for the changes, are not prepared how to deal with the newer technologies that are going to come up that they may not even have in their mind. I don't even know what they may be. Holographic images? Yeah. I don't think we're terribly far away from that. Flying cars? I think in one of the, it was New Zealand or Australia, something like, they're actually doing that with some of the testing, but cars, flying cars. Is that conceivable? Is that something to do? In fact, yes, it was. It was on one of the radio shows I was listening to. So one of the things they were working on was, no, it wasn't traffic. It wasn't anything like that. It was actually noise reduction. Noise reduction. Yeah, noise reduction. Think of it this way. If you have a flying car, let's go with helicopters, right? Let's imagine helicopters. We can all visualize what a helicopter is. Helicopter, you get the blades flying around up there, making a lot of noise. You know that thing is coming, right? Because you could hear it. Well, what if there was a whole bunch of helicopters that always flew around your neighborhood, that always flew around your city? It's noisy. What if we have more and more people with flying cars and they're noisy? Ain't gonna, I was gonna say ain't gonna fly. Ain't gonna fly. It won't fly. So their issue with the flying cars is not the technology of how do you get this car up in the air or the equivalent of a car up in the air. It isn't even the technology of trying to figure out how to get traffic patterns going. This way you don't have that. Or it's not even the issue when it comes to having enough power and the ability to move this thing from point A to point B. It's noise reduction. Now, when they were explaining that, I'm thinking, okay, so how many other places would noise reduction be super important in some sort of a helicopter, flying car, flying something situation? Quite a bit. Hey, I know those folks out in the Hamptons not too happy about all those planes that fly in there in the summer. Well, if they were quieter, I wonder if they'd have the same complaint. I wonder. What if the military had helicopters that made no noise as they were approaching? I was thinking about some of these videos I've been watching about Vietnam. Those helicopters come in, the big helicopters coming in, you know it. So does the enemy. Everybody knows that thing is coming in. What if they were quiet? I wonder how much different that situation would have been if there was no noise associated with it. Just in everyday use, what if things were made to be quieter than what they currently are? Automobile industry has gone through that, hasn't it? Go back 100 years ago, go find a video from what a car sounded like 100 years ago. It was loud. Now, and I'm talking to combustion engine cars, now they're quiet as can be. Throw in the fact that some of them electric vehicles, there's no noise at all. It's just super quiet. That becomes another problem that gets tossed in there. But all of these problems, all of these challenges that come up create opportunities. Our students of today are going to be the ones that work through these different challenges, and they will create those opportunities. They will create those newer products. They will create the newer jobs. They will create newer industries with all of this stuff. And I really think it's up to us to give our students the attention that they deserve when it comes to learning how to interact with other students in various projects, when it comes to learning how to learn, how to adapt, how to take a look at something and make it better. I love the idea of the vocational programs inside of the school from the standpoint of now, this way, when they work through that, they're going to figure out at an earlier age what it is that they like and what it is they don't like, what it is they want to pursue and what it is they don't want to pursue. Because by them doing that, when they get to college, or if they go directly to work, they're coming in with experience. They're coming in with knowledge. And most important, is they're coming in with a desire to learn because they have the interest in it. They're not just going to work someplace for the very first time and saying, just go see if I like it or don't like it, or graduating after 4 years of school or more and trying to figure out then where to get a job, where to go to work, whether or not they like that industry or don't like that industry. But if they knew in ninth grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, what it is that they really like, what it is they really want to focus on, now that's a motivated workforce. That will be an unbelievable game changer. That's what we're looking to promote. That's what we're really looking to do. So here's how we're thinking about doing it. And that is through some of the efforts from last year, but definitely the same message, I think, from last year. And if you're interested in participating, let me know. But spoke to the folks over at the HIA. They are interested in having the students attend the trade show again this year. I think that's great. So we have a small group of us, little committee, that is going to be reaching out to the schools and the students, inviting the students where possible, but inviting the students and also inviting the administrators over at these high schools. Junior high, probably a little too young, but the school officials, whether guidance counselors, and whomever might be, might have an interest in this, to attend, for them to attend the trade show and to bring some of the students with that they have to the trade show. You know what I'm thinking over here? You got that DECA program, the Virtual Enterprise Group, and there's a few others also that I think would find the trade show really fascinating, and fascinating from a couple of different standpoints. So it would be fun, especially the Virtual Enterprise Group, for them to go to a trade show in advance of the trade show that they go to in order to sell their product, which is what they do at the Virtual Enterprise Group trade show. The DECA students, communication skills. For the DECA students to go there and see what it's like to hear a business promote themselves, when you give your 30-second elevator pitch, not to put the pressure on you, but to have a student listen to you and learn from you. Yeah, I think you really need to be spot on with that one, especially when you're at a trade show, right? When you're at this thing. You want to put your best foot forward, so that would be a place to do it. Now you do that in front of a student who's looking to learn. You just may have an unbelievable impact on that person that will last a lifetime. Not to put the pressure on you too much, but just saying. So we are reaching out to the schools with the idea of inviting the students and also many of the administrators to come to the trade show to experience the trade show. That would be one aspect of it. Now, here's the other side of it too, is that the HIA is doing these various workshops throughout the day. You can see that it's up on the it's up on the flyer someplace in there. Well, they're definitely doing the workshops. I'll just scroll down a little bit, and here we go. Breakout programs, educational breakout seminars. That's what we're going to call that. So the question to you is, who do you think, or what topic do you think would be appropriate? And then we're going to be gearing this toward the folks that are attending, and that's going to be the students and also these administrators, guidance counselors, the teachers, programmers, the folks that are helping the schools with some of these after-school programs. What do you think would be an interesting topic to do as a workshop where our target is going to be those students that are looking at various careers? Now, I'm thinking we could be talking to these students about the proper use of social media, LinkedIn, probably just LinkedIn, I guess, although that becomes a gray world too. But using LinkedIn in order to craft, create, and continue to build upon their resume without writing a resume, but using LinkedIn as their ongoing resume, as they take different classes, as they accomplish different things. Maybe they get certificates, maybe they finish that boat, finish that car, bring the car out to perhaps the drag racing this year. Now that'll take place again. Different photos to put up over there that are business related, that are growth related, that are education related, that are vocational related to what they do want to pursue. That would be an interesting topic, how to effectively use social media to further their business careers. They can work that way. Second comment on that one would be like, who do you connect with? Who do you connect with? So it's another one too. Could make a little presentation that goes along with that. Then there's, of course, the how to just overall network. That's an important one. But then the other side of it too is like, okay, I'm in this learning mode, and now I'm going to look for a job, look for a career. How do we go about and do that? So maybe it would make sense to have some of the HR folks there. Some of the HR folks, some people who talk about how do you actually write a resume? How do you put that together? Talk about keywords. That would be an important topic that's in there. How to make sure that your LinkedIn profile is highlighted within that resume also, and using that as a reference point as that goes along. You've got the interviewing, preparing the resume for the interview. You also could do interviewing skills. You now have that appointment. You're now sitting down in front of the HR person. How do you have that conversation? What do you say? What do you point out? Another one I think that's going to be important too is how do you read the job description that's up there? What is in that job description that's telling you something about the company? What's in that job description that's not really highlighting what's important to the company, where you could go and figure that out? There's a whole bunch of different places to go and do that. How do you go about and approach that effort? Well, another place to do that would be that company's website, that company's social media page. And you could also take a look at that company's PR notices that they put out. Maybe take a look at that company's annual report when it talks about some of the bigger projects that they're working on. But you could learn an awful lot too by going to that company's LinkedIn page and seeing what other groups that they're in. Maybe it makes sense for you to get involved in some of those groups. How do you do that? If you're a student, you don't really know. You're not going to go in there and as an expert. And if you ask questions, how do you do that in a manner where you're showing that you're interested in learning about what's going on? Because you can't come in as an expert. You're still a student. You're still going into that thing in the first place. But you might just be able to connect with the right person online that'll get you the right interview in person, that'll help push your career forward in a magical way. So where do we go from here? Where do we go? Got the core group that's reaching out to the schools. We'll be working on that. Going to work on that quickly. By the end of February, the HIA needs to know what workshops, educational workshops are going to be presented. So that's something that we need to focus on. So we need to submit that by the end of February. They'll make the announcement after that. So we'll need to work on that. So I'd like to explore a few ideas, of course, with you that would be interested in that. And that's going to be, I think it'll be a panel discussion, because there's no way we're going to do all these seminars. Just doesn't make any sense. All those topics is too much. I think all those topics are actually too much anyhow inside of a panel discussion. But if we had, I'm assuming it's 45 minutes, knock it down to getting set up, saying hello, taking photos, doing the rest of that stuff. But if we had 30 minutes to speak to the students, 30 minutes to speak to the school administrators that will speak to the other students, perhaps record that one. If we had 30 minutes to communicate with the high school students about what's possible, what would you say? That's what we're going to take a look at. And I would love to get your opinions on that, because that will be a very rewarding day. Also be a chance for you to highlight your own skill sets in there. So keep that in mind. You can always email me, message me, direct message me, whatever. Easy enough to find, and very, very open to conversations along this whole topic. That's how we are going to speak well and speak often and help others to live inspired. Have an absolutely wonderful day. Chat again tomorrow.